الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له قيوم السماوات والأراضين بعث نبيه محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم رحمة للعالمين وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله ما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah for another opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah alone. And we bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is His servant and His messenger. Whosoever the Almighty Allah guides is really guided. And anybody who goes astray has nobody to blame but themselves. Today is a Friday, the 30th day of Rabiul Awwal, 1446 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which I believe corresponds with the 4th day of October 2024. It's always an honor and a privilege, to visit this illustrious Masjid Al-Sabereen in this historic city of ours of Harrisburg. Anytime the opportunity, sets in for us to visit brothers and sisters in this community, it's something that, I always, love and enjoy, inshallah. But today, it's on a whole different level because my biological father is in the masjid. And it's an honor and a privilege, to grow up seeing your father do the things that he do, and then you also grow up to follow in those footsteps. And Almighty Allah safeguard our parents and bless them and guide them and keep them firm. The old man had this, fable that he normally tells. A man went to the chief of his village. He told the chief of the village that of all the people I grew up with, I'm the poorest of them all. I don't have a home to my name. I have no cars. I have nothing that I can boast of. So the chief of the village asked him, then what do you want us to do? He said, I just want you to execute me. Kill me so that I go to the Akhirah. The poverty is too much. And the chief said, why don't you go and think about it? He said, no, I've already thought about what I want, and this is what I want. The chief of the village said, okay, no problem. let me have this conversation with my cabinet and see what's going to be the resolution. The chief spoke to the cabinet, and the cabinet were amazed. Who is this person that is tired of the dunya, is tired of poverty, that he wants to be killed? The man came in front of the cabinet, he explained his story. They said, okay, no problem, we'll agree to it. An announcement was made, and all the people in the village met in the village square to witness the execution of a person who said he's tired of the dunya. As he was being brought, he was even waving them, "Salaam alaikum, I'm leaving, I'm going, you guys will come late." He lied on the table. Then someone called the attention of the chief from the crowd. So the chief went, and then he was listening to this person who was talking. And this brother who was on the table was saying, like, "Chief, you guys are wasting my time. I need to go to the akhirah. If you have any conversations, do it later." The chief came back, and then he told him, "Do you know what the guy was speaking to me about?" He said, "No." The guy in the crowd was telling the chief, "Oh chief, when you finish killing this guy, please don't bury him with his clothes, because I don't have clothes. I want those clothes. At least he has clothes, he has a shoe on, but he's tired of the dunya. I only have my underwears with me, but then I'm not tired of the dunya. I'm not frustrated with Almighty Allah. So when you kill him, just wrap him in some leaves and bury him, and then I want his shirt and then his pants and then his shoes." The guy who was, willing to die raised his head. And then he saw the guy in the crowd with only some underwear. And then he said, "Chief," he said, "What? I think I'm not yet ready to die. I'm not going anymore. At least I have a shirt and a pant. Someone does not have clothes on. At least the Almighty Allah has blessed me." Why do you bring up this, parable? Most often than not, all of us are going through different forms of challenges in life. Some people are facing financial challenges. Some people are facing health challenges. Some people are facing instability in their marriages. Some people are married but they don't have kids. Each and every one of us has problems that we go through day in, day out. But then the only solution to those problems is relying upon the Almighty Allah. We can go to people and then we complain to them about our problems, but people can do as only what they can. They can do more than necessary, and they can't really solve the problems that we face day in, day out. That is why as a Muslim, your reliance upon the Almighty Allah in this dunya is your number one tool. Because understand, the dunya is a place of test. The dunya is a place of trials and tribulations. The dunya is an unstable place. It's an unstable place. Today it's you, tomorrow it's not you. وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. The days of the dunya is like a cycle. The Almighty Allah turns it around people. So if you sit down and then you look at your life and then you look, that can pull you out of the struggles and the trials and the tribulations and the pain and the anguish and the fear and the anxiety and the depression is Allah. But then until you have that deliberate conscious effort, that deliberate conscious covenant, that deliberate conscious conversation with Almighty Allah, you wouldn't find a solution. It's important that we have this at the back of our minds. Because the Almighty Allah made it very clear in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُم مُّصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Trials and tribulations, there is no way we can run away from them. And then the safe passage through that is having that reliance upon the Almighty Allah. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim says, التوكل صدق اعتماد القلب على الله مع الأخذ بالأسباب. That when we say someone is relying upon the Almighty Allah, is that the heart sincerely agrees and accepts what the Almighty Allah throws at you. Your heart should be ready for everything that comes from the Almighty Allah. Your heart should be prepared and open to accept whatever you are going through with the Almighty Allah. Nothing is going to afflict us except what the Almighty Allah has willed for us. And the Almighty Allah is our cherisher, He's our sustainer, He's our provider. Our hearts as Muslims should be ready for that. And until our hearts are open to accept that whatever comes, whatever happens is by the will of the Almighty Allah, then our iman itself has a problem. وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. The keys of the unseen are with the Almighty Allah. لا يعلمها إلا هو. Nobody knows them except the Almighty Allah. My sister, you are of age of marriage, you're looking for a husband, the husbands are not coming in. Wallahi, it is just that the time of the Almighty Allah is not yet out. You are married for ages, no kids, it is just that the Almighty Allah has not yet willed it. Listen, you have graduated from university, you have a very good GPA, as they call it, a CPA, you are out of the university, you are qualified, you go from job to job, the job is not happening. You are well today, tomorrow you are in the hospital, you are just going back and forth between your home and the hospital. Almost every week you have to go to the hospital. It's just what the Almighty Allah has planned and put in place. لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر. It's only the Almighty Allah who knows what's in the sea and what's on the land. وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها. No leaf will fall from a tree except the Almighty Allah knows it. ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. Not a dry twig or a fresh branch except the Almighty Allah is aware of it. يا صاحب الهم إن الهم منفرج أبشر بخير فإن الفارج الله. اليأس أحيانا يقطع بصاحبه لا تيأسن فإن الصانع الله. إذا بليت به فثق به وارض به إن الذي يكشف البلوى هو الله. والله ما لك غير الله من أحد فحسبك الله في كل لك الله. You are facing financial challenges. You are facing health problems. You are facing problems with your kids. You've given birth to your kids, you fed them, you clothed them, you paid their fees, you do whatever you must do as a parent, but your kids do not respect you, they don't listen to you. You are married, but then there is instability in the home. Your in-laws are giving you problems. You go to the workplace, your supervisor is giving you a headache. Your colleagues at workplace are bullying you and mocking you. You are صاحب الهم إن الهم منفرج أبشر بخير فإن الفارج الله. Understand one thing. Nobody is going to open those doors for you except the Almighty Allah. اليأس أحيانا يقطع بصاحبه. Losing hope will only push you far away from the Almighty Allah. Don't lose hope. Be optimistic. Be positive with the Almighty Allah. Understand that even if the Almighty Allah doesn't give you a way out in the dunya, the results are waiting for you in the akhirah. For us Muslims, it's always a win-win situation. You either win in the dunya or you win in the dunya and the akhirah. For us Muslims, it's a win-win situation. So don't look at your life today. Don't look at the troubles you're going through. Don't look at the pain you're going through and think that Allah has forsaken you or Allah doesn't like you or Allah hates you. No. Sometimes trials and tribulations, when they don't come only through bad means. They come through good things too. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. Sometimes even the wealth that the Almighty Allah gives us is a test. So understand that it's not because Allah hates you or you've done something wrong to the Almighty Allah. Sometimes people call us and say, Sheikh, I don't know, maybe I've done something wrong to the Almighty Allah. Life is too unstable for me. And then I tell them, listen, even the Anbiya were tested by the Almighty Allah. And do you think Allah loves you more than He loves the Anbiya? No. Allah loves them more than He loves you. But yet the Almighty Allah tested them. The Almighty Allah puts them through trials and tribulations. Read their stories in the Quran. Go to Surah Al-Anbiya and read what Ayyuba idh nada rabba anni massani ad-durru wa anta arhamur rahimin. Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam was sick for 17 years. 17 years. He was a very rich man, very wealthy. He went bankrupt overnight. The family, wife, kids, everybody died. He was left with only one wife. This wife told him, Ya Ayyub, why wouldn't you do dua so that the Almighty Allah heals you? Ayub tells her, how many years have we living in prosperity, in happiness and goodness? She said 70 years, 70. And then he asked her, how many years have we been in pain and anguish? She said 17 years. He said, you see, the Almighty Allah granted us goodness for 70 years. And then he only tested us for 17 years. I don't think I have the moral right to ask Allah to grant me health. Let's wait until we are 70 years in the pain. Then I believe we have the right to ask the Almighty Allah to grant us success. That is the you. وَظَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا وَظَنَّ أَنْ لَن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فنادى في الظلمات أن لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. Where are you, my brother? You are in this country, you are looking for documents. You want to be legal in the country, you've put in all kinds of petitions, you've put in all kinds of files, but then the USCIS is always rejecting you. I give you Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam. In the belly of the whale, in the depth of the ocean, in the depth of the night, 3 different forms of darknesses, but then the Almighty Allah gave Ayyub what? Success, and he was able to come out. وَزَكَرِيَّا إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ رَبِّ لَا تَذَرْنِي فَرْدًا وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الْوَارِثِينَ. Zakaria said, Ya Allah, I'm married, but then there are no kids. Ya Allah, don't leave me alone. Ya Allah, grant me someone who is going to succeed me. And if you look at all these verses, after them the Almighty Allah said, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا فَاسْتَجَبْنَا فَاسْتَجَبْنَا. You the Arabs tell us that there's a difference between وَاسْتَجَبْنَا ثُمَّ اسْتَجَبْنَا فَاسْتَجَبْنَا. Al-fa li-ta'qib. The moment the Almighty said, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا, the moment these prophets of the Almighty Allah did the dua, the Almighty Allah answered dua one time. My message to you and I today is that whatever challenges, whatever problems you're going through, wallahi, the safe passage for you is relying upon the Almighty Allah. Let's all go back to the Almighty Allah. Let's all have this sincere relationship with the Almighty Allah. Let's all have this covenant with the Almighty Allah. Until our covenant with the Almighty Allah is strong, the trials and the tribulations will always frustrate us. But then, when the trials and tribulations come, but then our reliance upon the Almighty Allah is very strong, those trials and tribulations rather become opportunities for us to grow stronger and stronger and stronger with the Almighty Allah. Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu narrates a hadith where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna idam al-jaza min idam al-bala. The magnitude of the reward is in proportion with the magnitude of the test. Nobody goes through high school and they are giving PhD diploma. Is it done? It's not done. If you want a PhD, you want a doctorate, you need to go through the doctorate courses. Same way, if you want a greater Jannah, you have to go through the hoops and the flips with the Almighty Allah in the dunya, because the Almighty Allah is very clear that He's going to test us. But then at the end of the day, those who are patient and rely upon the Almighty Allah, those are the ones that the Almighty Allah is going to give them success in the dunya and the akhirah. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد. We're speaking about relying upon the Almighty Allah in whatever situations that we find ourselves in. But then again, there is the other part of reliance upon the Almighty Allah that most often than not, some people do not put their minds to. The heart relies upon the Almighty Allah, and the limbs go out in search of the barakah of the dunya. If we say rely upon the Almighty Allah, my brother, don't sleep in the masjid and leave the job there outside. Go to the job. Go look for a job. Go learn a trade. Go to school. You live in one of the most advanced countries in the world. That gives you different opportunities for you to excel in whatever field you've chosen. Don't abuse that opportunity. Don't let it slip by. You come to the masjid, you pray, your relationship with Almighty Allah is strong, but you go out there to look for a job. You have a strong relationship with Almighty Allah, you go to the hospital to seek medication. You have a very strong relationship with Almighty Allah, you put in place all the natural laws that the Almighty Allah has ordained for us to put. During the time of Umar ibn Khattab, he came to the masjid one day and he found a young man, Nawafil. One day, 2 days, 3 days. Umar ibn Khattab asked, "So who is this young man?" He said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, this young man, his iman is very, very high." Umar ibn Khattab asked only one question. How does he eat? And the Sahaba said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, you know he has a brother in the market who brings him food from time to time." Umar ibn Khattab said, his brother in the market is more beneficial to the Ummah than him here sleeping in the masjid. Umar ibn Khattab looked for a stick and they kicked him out of the masjid. Brothers and sisters that you are listening to us, when we say you should rely upon the Almighty Allah, it doesn't mean only having that spiritual reliance upon the Almighty Allah. If you are a student of knowledge, when you rely upon the Almighty Allah, you read your books. If you are a worker, you rely upon the Almighty Allah, you go to work on time. If you are a worker, you make sure the hours you spend at the job, you do it judiciously. If you are married, you make sure you put your efforts in making sure the marriage thrives. You can't come to the shuyukh all the time and say, Imam dua, Imam dua, Imam dua, but then your character in the home stinks. It's not going to work. You can't say Imam dua, but then you don't go out to look for a job. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't say Imam dua for the kids, but then you don't nurture the kids the way they're supposed to be nurtured. Muslims must understand this. Let's not lie to ourselves that I'm a believer in the Almighty Allah and that is it. No, it doesn't work that way. Islam is a spiritual religion, but it's also a very practical religion. 1 + 1 equals to 2, not 2.0 or 0.2. Don't tell me because there's 2 in there, so the answer is 2. No. You need to have that deliberate, conscious effort in making sure you put in place the necessary rudiments of attaining success in the dunya. If you want to be wealthy, you rely upon the Almighty Allah and then you invest in the right places. Then you become wealthy. If you look at the problems that the Muslim Ummah faces today, problems in Palestine, in Sudan, in Somalia, in Iraq, in Yemen, all those places, in Niger, in Mali, in Guinea, all those places that you see the Muslim nations are in problem. Our solution is not going to be only Allahumma kada. No. The Muslim Ummah must have a deliberate, conscious effort in solving the problem. Imam Sha'arawi rahimahullah says, لن تكون كلمتنا من رأسنا إلا إذا كانت لقمتنا من فأسنا. We will never be able to control our thoughts so long as someone else feeds us. If someone else feeds you, the person controls your thought. Why is it that we, the Muslim nations, are not at the forefront of science and technology? Why are we not producing, what the world needs? Why are we not consumers? With all due respect today, if you want to go to the destination spots for entertainment and tourism, you go to Muslim countries. But then if you want to go to places for higher education, you go to Western countries. Why is it so? Why is it so? Muslims must sit down and ask themselves these questions. Now, if you want to have a boxing bout, you know where to go. If you want to have golf, you know where to go. If you want to have entertainment, you know where to go. It's Muslim nations. But if you want education in science, in the technologies, you know where to go. Why is it so? When previously that was not the case. Cities like Baghdad, cities like Damascus, cities like Cordoba, cities like Andalusia, these were centers of the learning for the known world. People travel from across of Europe to come to Spain, Cordoba, to go and learn, to study. People travel to cities like Gao and Timbuktu and Hamdallah in West Africa to study. But today, why have things changed? Why? And then we want to be the leaders of the world. It's not going to work. It's not. If you want to be leaders of the world, our relationship with Almighty Allah should be very strong, and then our in-depth analysis and research in the dunya should also be very strong. Muslims ruled the known world for 1,000 years, from the mountains of Siberia in the north to the Indian Ocean in the south, from the mountains of Mongolia in the east to the doors of Paris in the west. We taught Europeans what soap is. We taught them how to bath. The Europeans didn't know what bathing was. Some of them, it takes them months before they bath. We taught them that. Algebra is ours. Algorithm, Al-Khwarizmi is ours. Go and read all those sciences. You find Muslims, people like Ibn Rushd al-Athim, he's a Maliki jurist, at the same time he's a medical doctor. It's not Korea, but Allah, that's not it. Our religion goes beyond that. And until we go back to that blueprint, where you find Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, very devout and astute man, but at the same time he's a businessman. Umar bin Khattab, businessman. Uthman bin Affan, businessman. Ali bin Abi Talib, a scholar. Mu'adh ibn Jabal was so good in mathematics that the Prophet Muhammad said he is the one who knows how to distribute in estates in Islam. Distribution of inheritance, Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Mu'adh ibn Jabal was so good in diplomacy that the Prophet Muhammad sent him to Yemen to go and do da'wah to Christians. And then you Muslims today, anytime we speak about the world and development, and this is not for us. You will always remain at the bandwagon of civilization, so long as you don't strive to put in place the natural laws that the Almighty has ordained upon us. If you want, come and plant a mango tree in this masjid and think it will germinate. It will never germinate. Because the conditions are not what good for the mango tree to germinate on this carpet. Muslims must understand that. Put in place the necessary rules and regulations that the Almighty Allah has ordained for the dunya, and then you rely upon the Almighty Allah. Until recently, a lot of military academies in Europe were using the tactics of Khalid ibn al-Walid to teach warfare. This is who we are. This is our identity. Islam is a whole package. And until we merge the packages together, our spiritual reliance upon the Almighty Allah, coupled with our daily investments and investigations in the dunya, wallahi, with all due respect, we remain at the back of the wagon. Allahumma aiz al-Islam al-Muslimin, wa azil al-Shirk al-Mushrikeen, wa damir a'da' ad-Din, وانصر إخوان المستضعفين في كل مكان، في فلسطين وفي الشيشان وفي اليمن وفي ليبيا وفي السودان وفي الصومال وفي النيجر وفي ديني. اللهم انصرهم على أعدائهم. اللهم من أرادنا وأراد الإسلام بسوء فرد كيده عليه برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم إن كان رزقنا في السماء فانزل، وإن كان في الأرض فاخرج، وإن كان بعيدا فقرب، وإن كان قريبا فيسر، وإن كان يسيرا فبارك لنا فيه. اللهم آمنا في أوطاننا وفي سائر بلاد المسلمين. اللهم آمنا في أوطاننا وفي سائر بلاد المسلمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. Before I forget, I just want to draw attention to something. So the last time I was here, we were speaking about a full-time school for the community. And I think it's very, very important. You know America more than I do. And you know in terms of nurturing kids here. So for Muslims to be also independent, we need to establish our own infrastructure. Our own schools is very, very important. And I know we have, Islamic full-time school here, but then it's at its early stages. This is a community-based project that we all need to put our hands in our pockets to support that, to put our shoulders to the yoke, to make sure that something like this continues. So let's not forget that. And let's not forget to also say a dua for the kids. May Almighty Allah safeguard them, may Almighty Allah grant them success in this dunya wa akhirah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa qumu ila salati.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا
الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث الله أكبر
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.